As we raise funds to support a healthy environment and thriving communities, it's important to remember that our neighborhoods throughout the Puget Sound region are the legacy of the Duwamish and Salish people. At ECOSS, we are grateful for their stewardship of this place, their home for millennia. And we acknowledge we live and work on land that was never ceded. We are in Duwamish Aboriginal territory. ECOSS educates and empowers businesses and diverse communities to implement environmentally sustainable practices. As a nonprofit, we rely on donations from people like you to fund environmental education and services to small businesses, individuals, and communities. Your generous donation today makes this work possible. This year is unlike any other. ECOSS and the communities we serve need your support more than ever. Please consider making a meaningful gift to keep ECOSS outreach staff on the ground and supporting local businesses and communities. We value gifts of all levels. Every dollar makes a difference. Visit ECOSS.org or text ECOSS to 202-858-1233 to make your gift today. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum and good day, everyone. My name is Uroosa Fatima and I prefer she and her pronouns. I'm a project manager at ECOSS and I'm a recent immigrant to the US from Pakistan. I speak Urdu and Hindi and I'm so thankful that you're joining me here today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are on the third day of our week-long Sustainable Futures Fest. And today, I'd like to discuss a topic many of us have struggled with: solid waste management, composting, and recycling. However, before we jump in, I want to acknowledge that we are on stolen land that was originally the territory of Duwamish and Coast Salish peoples, which was taken from them by foreign invaders. Now, I know that dealing with solid waste doesn't have anyone jumping for joy. Throwing out the trash is an activity most like to do with little reflection on the waste being thrown out and all the focus going to ensuring that you have the least amount of contact time with the bag. I get it. It's not pretty. But with about half of what we throw out going to landfills, it's time to get familiar with our trash and find ways to stop it from cluttering up our beautiful planet. So, what can we do? The biggest step is to reduce the amount of trash, and the easiest way to do this is to start recycling and composting. You'd be surprised at how much of your waste can be redirected to one of these streams. Also, if you live in Washington, your area is probably already set up for recycling and composting, and these services are a lot cheaper than trash pickup. For many people, the challenge with setting up multiple waste disposal streams is figuring out what goes where, and this can get pretty frustrating, especially as many local service providers have their own rules for what they accept. Luckily, there are simple guidelines you can follow to make sure that your waste streams aren't getting contaminated. Let's start with compost. What is compost? Compost is organic matter that has been decomposed in a process that's called composting. This process recycles various organic materials, otherwise regarded as waste products, and produces a soil conditioner that is rich in nutrients and really great for the plants or generally throwing around in your garden. When collecting compost in your home or place of work or community center, a good rule of thumb to follow is if it was alive once, it can be alive again. This means that any waste that could have been considered living at any point in its life can be composted. This includes things like dead leaves, bones, coffee grounds, paper, even greasy paper. For recycling, be sure to check out the guidelines put out by your local recycling center, as they can vary. But for any kind of material, especially stuff that comes in contact with food, make sure the container is empty, clean, and preferably dry. For paper or cardboard, only recycle those that are clean and dry. If the paper is wet or has food or grease stuck on it, it should be composted instead. If you or your community would like a more in-depth training for solid waste management, please reach out to us. We have staff capacity in multiple languages and are happy to orient our trainings to respond to how you like to set up your kitchen. I know I'm very particular about how my kitchen is set up. ECOSS solid waste program is geared towards helping POC, immigrant, refugee, and low-income communities manage their waste systems and take advantage of programs that have been set up by the city or county to keep up with new regulations on waste management. That last one is particularly important for businesses, as waste management regulations are constantly evolving, and in some cities, like Seattle, they may be fined for not managing their waste as requested. So, why is it so crucial to manage our waste? Is it just to keep cities looking aesthetically pleasing? The rate of waste that humans generate has been rising year after year, and we're running out of space to dump our trash. The Earth's ecosystems have been deeply scarred by the materials we have carelessly dumped into it. And most areas we live in have microplastics in the soil and water, which are not great for our health. Wildlife and their food systems have also suffered because of this pollution. And there are trash islands floating in our oceans. For decades, humanity has polluted without a thought. And now we need to make changes, big and small, so that we can truly call ourselves the stewards of this planet and not the species that destroyed it. This is the challenge we face. Managing waste properly is essential for building sustainable and livable cities, but it remains a challenge for many developing and developed countries and cities. Effective waste management can be really expensive, often comprising of 20 to 50% of municipal budgets. Operating this essential municipal service requires integrated systems that are efficient and sustainable, and also social support. And it is very hard to run these programs without citizen support and interest. So please do your part and spread the enthusiasm. Manage your waste so the planet and everything it cares for doesn't have to suffer for it. And if you need support in doing so, please reach out to us. We would love to answer any questions you may have and help you get set up. Through this program, so far, ECOSS has worked with 115 multifamily properties and over 80 businesses to provide multilingual and culturally relatable resources and trainings. We have worked with SPU and other cities in Washington to provide our services to residents, community gathering spaces, and businesses. During COVID, we have reduced our in-person visits to by appointment only, so that restaurants know that we're coming and what day we're coming. And we do these mostly in case we need to drop anything off. And even in doing so, we limit our in-person time to 10 minutes or less. When possible, we prefer to consult over the phone or through video call, so that we don't take up room in the business that could have been taken by a customer. but if a business needs us to come down to help support, we're happy to show up. Along with helping businesses search for and apply to assistance programs during COVID, we have also helped them manage their waste service based on how busy they are, so that they don't have to pay any more for trash pickup than they need to. And we're also working with them to advertise their businesses on social media so that people know that they're still open and still serving. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I really hope I gave you some perspective on the global solid waste crisis and what ECOSS is doing locally to combat it. If you believe this work is important, please support ECOSS. We value gifts of all levels, and every little bit helps us stay on mission. The information for our Text to Give page is on your screens now.